want clutch hits? The Royals have two on this homestand. Billy Butler to put the Royals in front on Tuesday, and Alcides Escobar to send the game into extra innings last night, leading to an 11th inning victory. The Royals already have a winning homestand, going for a sweep next on Fox Sports Kansas City.
Royals baseball comes to you from Kauffman Stadium, where the Royals have already won the series with the Milwaukee Brewers. Tonight, they'll try and make it a 3-game sweep. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. I'm Ryan Lefevre. The Royals have not swept a series at home yet. They're hoping that Luke Hochevar will lead the way and win his first game at home this year.
And Ryan, if Luke Hochevar is able to win that first game at home this year, it will be the first interleague sweep for the Royals in 3 years to this date. But in order for Luke Hochevar to do that, very important for him to get out of the gate, establish himself in the first inning. If he gets on a roll early, I think he can carry it on into the game. He really needs to focus on those core pitches, the four-seam fastball, the curveball, and the changeup. He also needs to command the inside part of the strike zone.
Those highlights from the Kia report: Luke's last win, May 12th, against the White Sox. The Royals have only scored 6 runs in this series, but it's good enough for 2 wins. We'll have more on Hochevar when we come back. Chevrolet, your Kansas City Chevy dealers, are the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. Joel Goldberg will join us when we come back.
Tonight, the season certainly did not begin well for him here at Kauffman Stadium. 7 runs in the first inning of the home opener and trying to change his luck. Joel Goldberg back here in right field. We heard Jeff Montgomery talking about the Kia report, focusing on those core pitches. I talked with Luke's catcher, Humberto Quintero, and he said they're trying to narrow those pitches down a little bit. Less cutters, more four-seam fastballs to both sides of the plate, more curveballs, and they'll still use the slider and they'll still use the two-seam, but he believes that if they follow that plan, they'll be able to be aggressive, attack the strike zone, and throw more strikes. Luke looking for his first win at home since September 14th. He throws the first pitch next on Fox Sports Kansas City.
By Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. Into the 90s today as the Royals wrap up a very brief homestand. They've won the first 2 with the Brewers, now going for a 3-game sweep. And here's the Milwaukee lineup. And normally the advantage goes to the pitcher the first couple times a hitter and a pitcher hook up for the first time. And only Aramis Ramirez with 3 at-bats and Carlos Gomez with 5 at-bats have ever faced Luke Hochevar in a regular season game. And here is Luke facing the Milwaukee Brewers for the first time in his career.
And Ryan, we talked about the focus on the core pitches. The reason for doing that is he's got a variety of pitches he throws, but what the Royals would really like to see him do is have that separation between the fastball and the curveball. He throws a lot of sliders, but that's a close pitch velocity-wise to a fastball. So if he throws the curveball more, he has a greater separation.
Now look at the Royals defensively tonight behind Hochevar, presented by Ford.
We're going to see the same outfield as Nedjos had last night. Chris Getz back in at second base. Quintero, Luke Hochevar's personal catcher, is behind the plate.
And Alcides Escobar, I'm sure he slept just great last night against his former team. That big 2-out, 2-run triple to tie the game in the 9th inning.
I'm sure he was the talk of Milwaukee and Kansas City.
That is a very unsettled position for the Brewers, shortstop. Here's Nori Aoki leading off for the second straight game. 2 hits and a run scored so far. First year in the United States after a very successful career in Japan, where he was named to 7 All-Star teams. He won 3 batting titles and very good on defense. He has 6 Gold Gloves, and Hochevar misses inside for ball 1.
Having seen him now, this being the 3rd game, we can tell why he won all of those awards in Japan. A good-looking young player.
To the hole and past the diving Chris Getz.
Luke Hochevar gets his ground ball. Unfortunately, this one just past Chris Getz over in the hole between first and second base. Aoki on with the leadoff single.
We start tonight with a temperature of 87 degrees. The high today was 91. We started at 7:11 Central Daylight Time. And the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot at KCI. Brewers continue to use that platoon in center field with Carlos Gomez starting against left-hand pitching and Niger Morgan against the righties. Morgan started the game on Tuesday night. He was 0 for 2 with a walk. And Hochevar, a long hesitation before coming to the plate, so thinking that Aoki may take off from first base. The Brewers will run. They are 5th in the league in stolen bases. And now in the first 2 games of the series, they've only scored 4 runs. So I would think you'd have to be on the lookout for Ron Renicky, the Brewers manager, maybe starting some runners, straight steal, hit and run.
And we've seen a lot of that from Ned Yost, attempting to do the same thing, really jumpstart his offense.
Aoki at the moment does not have a threatening lead at first base and is fouled away, and no balls and 2 strikes on Morgan.
I read a piece in the Milwaukee paper this morning that Ron Renicky had 2 lineup cards that he makes out and really undecided which to go with yesterday, whether he has Corey Hart at the top of the order leading off or if he has him down in the 5 slot, wherever he's going to be. But he's doing what Ned Yost has done. He's really mixed things up as far as his lineup card goes and just hopeful to get something to jumpstart his offense as well.
A big key for the Royals in the first 2 games with Milwaukee is the Royals pitchers keeping the ball in the ballpark. And the biggest weapon that the Brewers have on offense is the long ball. They are 3rd in the National League in home runs, and they have 0 so far in Kansas City. Hit to Hosmer. Good feed to Escobar. Hosmer back to the bag, and that's a double play.
Eric Hosmer does a really nice job of getting rid of this ball quickly, so he has a chance to get the speedy Niger Morgan on the back end of the double play and does just that. Wastes no time at all. Gets the ball down to Escobar in a hurry.
So the Royals giving the Brewers a taste of their own medicine. The Royals had several rallies stopped last night because the Brewers turned 3 double plays. And now Ryan Braun facing Luke Hochevar for the first time, and he comes to the plate with nobody on. 3 hits for Braun in the first 2 games, but only 1 RBI. One ball, 1 strike. Ryan Braun tonight gets half the game off. He will be the designated hitter. And Nori Aoki will take his spot in left. Two balls, 1 strike. In your opinion, Monty, what are Luke Hochevar's core pitches? If you had to break him down and only allow him 3.
I would make him throw his 4-seam fastball. I think his 4-seam fastball is really good pitch. We know he has a good sinker, but I like the fact that he's able to separate that velocity with his curveball and his fastball. Here we're going to see the curveball. Not a real good one here at 79 miles an hour, but if you separate that from his 4-seamer, which is going to be in the mid-90s at times, it's a large separation, and that really sets up his changeup nicely as well. That separation, again, is the key for him.
Got him to chase a high fastball, and there's the 4-seamer Monty was talking about. That's a 10-pitch first inning for Hochevar. A regular season game, and the Royals are poised for a 3-game sweep. And here is his lineup tonight against right-hander Sean Markham. Let's see if Alex Gordon can get something started in the first inning. He homered leading off game 1 on Tuesday and then doubled and scored in the first inning last night. Chris Getz is back in the starting lineup. And Alcides Escobar batting 7th at shortstop. He had the big hit for the Royals in the 9th inning last night. And here's right-hander Sean Markham, born in Kansas City, grew up in Excelsior Springs.
Ryan, this 30-year-old right-hander has a lot of history here in Kansas City. He's not an overpowering type pitcher. Got a good fastball. He's going to throw in the upper 80s, low 90s. A really good slider. That's what he'll use against right-handers for his out pitch. He also features a very effective changeup. So see quite a mix from him tonight.
Alex on a 3-2 pitch Tuesday night against Zach Greinke put one into the water in right center field. That was his 5th home run of the year and his first since April 27th. And then came back last night against left-hander Randy Wolf and shot a double up the left field line, and that turned into a run. Had Alex reaching. Morgan over from right field. 2 pitches, 1 away for Markham. Now the Brewers defensively, presented by Ford.
Little different alignment. Brian Braun, designated hitter tonight. We've got Morgan and Aoki in the outfield tonight. Ricky Weeks normally playing over second, and he's still there again tonight with Edwin Masonette making another start at shortstop for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Ball 1 to Chris Getz, who came off the disabled list. He had that bruise on his left side and returned on Tuesday night. He went 1 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt, and then was not in the starting lineup last night with the left-hander Randy Wolf starting for Milwaukee. That sac bunt for Getz, part of that 8th inning on Tuesday, where the Royals got the hit from Billy Butler to take a 2-1 lead, and that was the final score. Now Getz hits one right on the nose, but right in Corey Hart for a tough luck out.
Markham features a slider more often than the curve, but here we see the curveball. Chris Getz right on it. Inside part of the plate, line drive right to Corey Hart.
So 2 down to Billy Butler, who arrived back in Kansas City with an RBI drought. He had gone 9 games without an RBI, and he had only 1 in his previous 12 games. He not only drove in a run on Tuesday, it was the game-winning run, and then drove in another run last night. So now he has RBIs in consecutive games.
And that Tuesday night when he came up, he was very relaxed, just looking for a chance to hit a fly ball. He ends up getting a base hit. So hopefully that will carry for Billy. Take that approach, nice and relaxed at the plate.
And the RBI that he had last night, that was a ground ball to short with a runner at third base. And Billy hasn't been really letting the Royals down by not getting big hits. It's the situations where he's had that runner at third with less than 2 outs, and he hasn't been able to get that runner in, which you can do by making an out.
Right, a productive out will get an RBI for you, get a run across the board, and the Royals did that effectively early last night.
One ball, 2 strikes. Billy has the most experience of all the Royals against Sean Markham with 12 at-bats before tonight, and he has 4 hits. In fact, Billy had a hit. I remember here in 2008, Sean Markham, it was a hot night in Kansas City, and he had a no-hitter into the 7th inning, but he was fighting a terrible calf cramp. And after every pitch, he would go to the back of the mound and bend over and stretch out his calf, throw a pitch, go to the back of the mound, and the Blue Jays were just dying. I mean, they wanted to get him out of the game, but he had a no-hitter. And then Billy Butler singled off him with 2 outs in the 7th, and Markham was out of there immediately.
Markham's had an excellent career, the Excelsior Springs native. He's a guy that has really demonstrated the ability to throw strikes. He's a strike thrower, and he can throw any pitch and any count. Again, the fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. He's just been a real workhorse, and now that he's with the Brewers, they're very glad to have him.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Markham with a career record of 55 and 35, so he's 20 games above 500. And Billy comes back from 0-2 and walks, and Markham not very happy about that. So 1 on with 2 out, and Eric Hosmer coming up. The Royals, Fox Sports, and the state of Missouri are teaming up to help you stop smoking now. The state of Missouri tobacco quit line is at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Eric Hosmer in the series 1 for 7, but he has a couple of walks. And Hosmer was part of that game-winning 11th inning rally last night. Billy Butler started the inning with a single. Hosmer walked, Francoeur singled, and then Mike Moustakas with the walk against Jose Veras to force in Butler to win the game. The Royals walked 6 times last night. 2 of those walks turned into runs in the 9th, and then the 2 walks part of the run-scoring 11th inning. 1-1. Breaking ball is fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mike Moustakas had 3 walks in last night's game. So a sign that a couple of young players are settling in, getting a feel for the strike zone, getting a feel for what pitchers are trying to do to them, getting a feel for what they can hit and what they can't hit.
Getting on base, very important, but more importantly, not getting themselves out on bad pitches.
and that's hit hard. Weeks gets a glove on it and throws the first for the out. So that saves the inning. The Royals are scoreless in the first.
Joel Goldberg visiting with the legendary Alice Cooper, who, besides, we all know him for the music, avid golfer and a huge baseball fan. So great to have you in town tonight. Throughout the first pitch, how'd that go?
They offered me a contract, and I told them I couldn't take the pay cut. But, I had a little outside fastball on the corner. It wasn't bad.
You just don't want to bounce it. That's what everybody says.
No, that's it. That thing must have been 30 miles an hour. I mean, it was hot.
I got to tell you guys that we could probably sit here for another hour and talk baseball, because Alice is a diehard fan, and we won't hold it against him that he cheers for a team in the Royals division, because you did grow up in Detroit. But tell me about growing up in Detroit and your love for baseball.
Well, it was like when you grew up in Detroit in the 50s, it was Al Kaline, Harvey Keene, Rocky Colavito, Jim Bunning. It was like baseball was your blood. And Tigers, you breathe Tigers. And, when you're a kid, that's really good to have a hero like an Al Kaline, because there was no scandal back then. It was just all baseball.
Well, that, by the way, those aren't boos. Those are moo for Moose, Mike Moustakas. So we've got the nice play there. The other team that you've adopted over the years, because you live out in Arizona, is the Arizona Diamondbacks. And you were just telling me that you found out how they won that game in an interesting setting, and you didn't really want to know.
Well, my road manager's Yankee fan all the way. And I'm Diamondbacks, and I'm on stage. It's 3-3 games. I knew the game was going to be on during our show. And I said, don't tell me what happened till after the show. On the last song, some kid with a little piece of cardboard, because Diamondbacks win. And I was in the middle of school zone, and I went, yes! The audience go, what is that? I don't remember that part.
What's amazing to me is we see musicians come in all the time, and they want to hang out around the ball players, and the ball players all want to hang out around the musicians, and we saw you hanging in the dugout before.
I have never met a baseball player that didn't want to be in a band. And I've never met everybody in my band wants to play left field or pitch or catch or something. And I think the reason is because we all play the same venues, we all travel alike, we all end up bumping into each other all the time, and it's a young man's game.
See some video of you talking with first base coach Doug Sisson before the game, as Alcides Escobar is going to field that one. And Doug Sisson's predecessor still works in the organization, was Rusty Kuntz, who was part of that 1984 Tigers World Series team.
That's right. And it's so networked out here. There's so many guys that's here, and here. And I remember back in the 50s when I was like 6 years old, nobody ever got traded. The biggest headline I ever saw in my life, bigger than World War II ending, was Keene for Colavito. That was like the biggest news that Detroit ever saw, the batting champ for the home run champ. That was big news.
Now you don't see the blockbusters quite like that all the time. Before this inning ends, got to ask you about golf. Jeff Montgomery in our booth said that he played with you at Pebble Beach once, all baseball players, and I'm sure that you love that because I know you're an avid golfer.
Sure. Oh, I play every day. I play 6 days a week. And I live in Arizona, of course, so we can play every day, you know. But, what happened was 30 years ago I quit drinking and took up golf. It's just the opposite for most people. They start playing golf and they start drinking at the same time.
Alice, we appreciate it. Very interesting that Milwaukee's here. I can't even get into Wayne's World, but we do have more baseball coming up. Quick inning. We head to a break. More coming up.
In education as a teacher, principal, and currently as an assistant superintendent for the Independence, Missouri School District. Beth uses her love of sports to encourage her daughter, as well as the girls within her school district, to participate in organized athletics. And she's enjoying the game tonight from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat, right behind home plate. As we head to the bottom of the second inning with no score, Luke Hochaver has been impressive in 2 innings. The Royals had good swings against Sean Markham in the first inning. Chris Getz hit the daylights out of one and lined out to first. And then Eric Hosmer lost a hit on a diving play at second base by Ricky Weeks. So no hits, but 2 line drives in the first inning. And now it'll be Jeff Francoeur, Mike Moustakas, and Alcides Escobar.
Ryan, we saw the numbers earlier on Sean Markham's career against the Royals with a 3-1 record. He's actually won 3 of his last 3 starts, so he's looking to make it 4 in a row.
No balls, 2 strikes. Markham a couple of years ago, and in his final year with the Blue Jays, he won 13 games. So the Brewers picked him up in a trade. It cost them Brett Lowry, the very talented, high-energy third baseman for the Blue Jays, is an original property of the Brewers. And then Markham went over to Milwaukee last year and won 13 games again. That's his first strikeout and 1 away. And Jeff Francoeur is going to, nope, that's going to cost him. That's an automatic ejection. Unfortunately, whether a player meant to show up the umpire or not, there are a couple of no-nos. Throwing equipment and using equipment to draw up a strike zone or where the ball actually crossed the plate, those are grounds for ejection, like it or not.
We're going to see on Fox Tracks here, Jeff Francoeur actually was right. He had a good reason to put up a little beef here with Dan Isonia on the called third strike. The ball was obviously inside.
the Royals lose Jeff Francoeur, and we're not even done with 2 innings. And now Markham will get Mike Moustakas. Down and in, ball 1. Anyway, talking about Markham, he won 13 games last year and was a big part of the Brewers winning 96 games, going to the National League Championship Series, but really flamed out at the end of the year. Now Moustakas almost hit C.B. Bucknor. No matter where C.B. Bucknor went, the ball seemed to follow him.
It was one of those heat-seeking missiles.
He's probably thinking to himself, hey, I'm not the one who just made the call on Francoeur.
Well, I think they teach them to go into foul territory so they don't get hit in fair territory. I think on a ball like that, I'm just going to try to get out of the way to save my life.
Just about everything Mike Moustakas does on the field results in a moose. Gomez makes the play in center field. So with Ryan Braun as the designated hitter tonight, Ron Renneke goes with both of his center fielders in that platoon. Gomez in center and Niger Morgan is in right. Here's our league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City Toyota dealers. And here's what we've seen so far in interleague play. The American League leading the National League. 12 more wins. With the Yankees having the best record so far, the Royals are 3-5 in their interleague games. 2 innings in the books and no score at Kauffman Stadium. Last time the Royals swept an interleague series, it was exactly 3 years ago, June 12th through the 14th of 2009, and they swept the Cincinnati Reds here at Kauffman Stadium. Brian Bannister winning the final game of the series to complete the sweep. And Luke Hochevar had one of the most impressive starts of his career in that series. He had a complete game, and he needed only 80 pitches to go 9 innings against the Cincinnati Reds.
That is an accomplishment in itself.
2-0 on Ricky Weeks with Mitch Meyer in right field. Jeff Francoeur was ejected after striking out in the second inning on a pitch that was well inside, but Francoeur used his bat to show the home plate umpire Dan Isonia where he thought the pitch was, and he was probably right where he was making the mark in the batter's box, but that is a no-no.
Going back to that sweep, when Luke Hochevar throws the complete game and 80-plus pitches. Later in that season, he had a career strikeout high, I believe, against maybe the Texas Rangers.
It was 43 days later, 43 days in between an 80-pitch complete game and a 13 strikeout game against Texas.
So that is a spectrum on Luke Hochevar, whether it be the contact guy that gets the complete game and 80-plus pitches, or the multiple strikeouts. So he really has the ability to be the one, but I think what we've seen is a guy that really needs to evolve and be one or the other.
What would you lean toward right now? A pitcher with a power approach or a pitcher with a control approach?
Well, I like his,
or a contact approach.
I like his ability to be a power pitcher, and I think that's really why he was the #1 draft choice and why he is here doing what he is doing or attempting to do. But I think, again, at some point you have to almost tie his hands behind his back and say, you got these 3 pitches to work with like we're seeing tonight, and let's just see how it works. Make him take it out there and make him be effective with it.
And he goes up the ladder with a fastball, and Ricky Weeks tests the new guy into the game. How many times does that happen? And Mitch Meyer, fresh into the game, handles the fly ball. And there's one down in the 3rd. Be a part of the All-Star action this summer in Kansas City by coming out to Taco Bell All-Star Sunday here at Kauffman Stadium. That's Sunday, July 8th, for 2 exciting events and a spectacular fireworks show to end the inning, or the evening. The Sirius XM All-Star Futures game is followed then by the Taco Bell All-Star Legends and Celebrity Softball game. Again, that's Sunday, July 8th. Carlos Gomez is out. A ground ball to Alcides Escobar. And now Luke Hochevar has retired the last 6. And it brings up Edwin Masonette. And we were talking about the Brewers' troubles at shortstop this year because of injuries. They've lost Alex Gonzalez, their starter, Cesar Izturis, their backup, and Edwin Masonette, who is going to be the everyday shortstop at AAA, is now getting a bulk of the playing time in the big leagues. Takes a curveball the other way, and it's Mitch Meyer again. 3 scoreless innings for Luke Hochevar. Placed Jeff Francoeur just handled a couple of fly balls in right field. The Royals in the Power and Light District are hosting a Royals watch party presented by Miller Lite when the Royals play in St. Louis on Saturday. Activities start at noon with a special Saturday afternoon game of 1:10. Free prizes, alumni autographs, and interactive games. Admission is free, so come downtown to the Power and Light and cheer on the Royals. Gerard Dyson batting 8th tonight, followed by Humberto Quintero and Alex Gordon in the 3rd inning. And a nice play again by the Milwaukee defense, and for the 2nd time it's Corey Hart taking a hit away from a Royal. So the Royals are still hitless, but on 3 occasions it's taken a very good play by a Brewers defender.
And here we see Gerard Dyson putting good foot on the ball. 6'6" Corey Hart able to stretch out and make that play fairly easy. Always nice when it's on the glove side.
And on the topic of injuries, Matt Gamble was supposed to take over full time at first base for Milwaukee this year with the departure of Prince Fielder, but he has had a serious injury. So Corey Hart has moved in from the outfield and played very well for the Brewers at first base. 3 pitches and 2 outs for Sean Markham in the 3rd. And let's compare him to Luke Hochevar in our Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet pitch speed comparison. Hochevar up to 94. Markham so far has topped out at 89. You can get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Alex thinking about dropping one down. Not a bad idea to get a base runner. Although the way Alex has been swinging it lately, they might want to see if he could drive one. That was more of a swinging bunt, and Ramirez comes in to throw him out. 5 pitches, and Markham gets the Royals in the 3rd. And this fan creative with her sign. She has now turned it into a plea for Mitch Meyer to perform on her birthday. Jeff was ejected in the 2nd inning. But remember, every Thursday you can come out and sit in Frank Coor's right field cheering section. $21, you get a t-shirt, Mardi Gras beads, and have some fun with Frank Coor. As Aoki is hit by the first pitch thrown by Luke Hochevar to begin the 4th inning.
Luke trying to go inside just a little bit too inside. Wasn't sure if the ball did hit him, but on the replay you can see clearly that it did. Looked like it got it maybe on his right shin, maybe just above the shin guard. We saw him the other night getting out of the way of a ball, and it looks like it's somewhat dangerous for him the way he does it. He leaves both feet.
I don't think, did that hit him?
Maybe not.
Nyjer Morgan showing bunt and takes a strike. 0-1. Morgan grounded into a 3-6-3 double play in the first inning. That after Aoki had singled. And then Hochevar went on to retire the next 8 until Aoki was hit by a pitch, or at least that's what it says on the scorecard. He was running, he stops, and that is a foul ball. And now Humberto Quintero is going to say that Morgan fouled it off of himself out of the batter's box, which would be an out. Running and bunting at the same time.
Quintero is going to have to be careful. We can't afford to lose another player this early in the ball game. But we are going to lose a manager.
Well, coming in from third base is crew chief Dale Scott. And if he wants to listen in, that'll give him a piece of his mind as well. And so far, Dan Isonia, and we'll take a look at the replay, he's had a bad time with the Royals. Called a pitch, a strike on Jeff Francoeur that was clearly inside, at least 2 ball lengths inside of the strike zone. It looks like Aoki, to begin this inning, was not hit by a pitch, but he was awarded first base. Let's see, was Morgan still in the box on this foul ball? Well, his feet were still in the box.
His feet were in the box. I don't know how they define that, whether it's the plane, if he has to break the plane coming out of the box, or if it is actually the feet leaving the box.
So Chino Katahia, the Royals bench coach, will take over as manager and sending signs to Humberto Quintero, who then will relay them to Hochevar, and that has to do with whether Hochevar throws over to first or not, as Morgan slaps it foul, and it's still no balls and 2 strikes.
Just heard over the PA here in the press box. Ejection number 27 for Ned Yost, I believe, is what they were announcing in his career.
Aoki runs, Morgan strikes out, and that's a double play to Royals second. And now Aoki is chewing on second base umpire Bill Miller. He thought he was underneath the tag.
It appears though ball clearly beat him to second base. Let's see how Alcides Escobar applies the tag. Looked like he was clearly out.
So 3 strikeouts for Hochevar, and again he faces Ryan Braun with 2 outs and nobody on. Braun struck out on a high fastball in the first inning, and he wasn't very happy with Dan Isonia's strike zone right before swinging and missing. A strike was called on a high curveball. Stroked to deep left field, and that's the first home run of the series for the Milwaukee Brewers. It is Ryan Braun's 16th, and Milwaukee takes a 1-0 lead.
Ryan, it was just a matter of time before last year's National League MVP Ryan Braun was going to deposit a ball into the bleachers. He does it here against Luke Hochevar.
And it seemed like a good matchup in that department for Hochevar, and it might still be. We'll see what happens tonight. But Luke, before that home run hit by Ryan Braun, had not allowed a home run in his last 21 innings.
And that was only his 5th on the year, given up.
And it's only 1 run to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0 Milwaukee. Dealer by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. So the Brewers get their first home run of the series. Ryan Braun hits his 16th, 1-0 Milwaukee. And now Chris Getz, who lined hard to first baseman Corey Hart, his first time up, takes a strike. Royals were predicting a better season for Chris Getz at the plate, and especially in the power department. He's hitting .276 right now. His career batting average was .254. He had only 9 extra base hits last year, and he has 7 this year. Kevin Seitzer and Chris Getz at the end of last season agreeing on a more upright stance to help him drive the ball more. After Getz, it'll be Billy Butler and Eric Hosmer.
The upright stance from Chris Getz, the first thing I noticed about him when I went to spring training, and coincidentally the game that I saw, he drove a couple balls into gaps. It was really a welcome adjustment for him.
Into left center field for a base hit, and a good start to the 4th inning for the Royals. That is their first hit. There have been a few lineouts. That's the Royals' first hit against Sean Markham. We remind you, as you enjoy a cold one on this warm night in Kansas City or wherever you may be, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. So Getz at first, and now Billy Butler, who walked in the first inning. Getz has stolen 6 bases. He has been thrown out 1 time. And the Brewers think that Getz might take off with Billy at the plate. We are joined in the booth, not on the air, because Alice Cooper was kind enough to spend some time with Joel Goldberg, but good to have you up here in the booth. And he was kind enough to come up here and sign our Wall of Fame, which is a huge, huge deal to us. One on Billy Butler. There we go, and now it's official, and we can thank Royals Vice President Mike Swanson for that. Now he wanted to know if this is good foul ball territory. We get a few back here. Just so you know, though, they can come back here pretty hot.
Right, it'd be a great time for you to display your gold glove from your catch earlier this year.
Yeah, if you missed it earlier this year, caught a foul ball in the radio booth, and there was a fan that came up to you during Royals Live and gave you a little gold glove trophy.
Little mock
catch.
Little mock gold glove.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
Appreciate that.
So, Jim, if you're watching, Ryan certainly did appreciate it.
You got it right here. There we go. With all my blood. Alice Cooper. Up there with Bubba Starling, the Royals' first-round pick from last year, and Jeff Foxworthy on our brand new Wall of Fame, which was freshly painted before last season. So we're starting over with some new signatures. Thanks for stopping by. Three balls, one strike. It was a very loud 3 hitless innings for Markham. In the first inning, Getz lined out. That was with 1 out. And then Billy Butler, after he walked, Eric Hosmer hit a smash up the middle, and Ricky Weeks made a diving play to take a hit away. In the third inning, Gerard Dyson hit a bullet up the first base line. Corey Hart went diving to save it. And then Alex Gordon hit a little dribbler on the third base side, which required a fine defensive play by Aramis Ramirez. Chopped to Masonette, out at second base. And Corey Hart using every bit of his 6'6" frame. And that completes the double play. The Brewers turned 3 double plays last night.
Right, you were talking about those fine defensive plays, balls well hit by the Royals. Corey Hart involved in those, and here Ricky Weeks with a nice play.
Associate producer Sam Abramson in a flash, putting that video package together. So Markham with a ground ball double play, and now Eric Hosmer. And it required the diving play by Ricky Weeks to retire Hosmer in the first inning. Markham has very good numbers against right-hand batters, but he's a little better against lefties. And you would wonder why. But then you look at where he sets up on the rubber. He is on the extreme first base side of the rubber. I mean, he's barely on the rubber, so that gives him a good angle pitching into the left-hand hitters. Works Hosmer away, and it's 3-1.
When he starts on that first base side, like you mentioned, the ball, especially if he's going to run the ball in, whether it be with his changeup away from a lefty or into a righty, he has the ability to do that because he does take advantage of that angle.
3-2. And we'll do it again. A lot of times a pitcher will really turn his fortunes around just by simply moving on the rubber. And I've seen pitchers over the years that, and we don't know if this is the case for Markham and why he went to that side of the rubber, but maybe he was having a bad time against lefties, and rather than change his pitching arsenal, just change where he sets up on the rubber.
Right, and sometimes if he's going to be predominantly a slider guy, he would probably want to be exactly on the third base side, exactly the other side of the rubber, to get that same advantage going across away from a right-hander.
Hosmer lifts a breaking ball to left field. It's caught by Aoki. A leadoff single, but then a double play, and Markham faces only 3 in the 4th. Francisco, Matt Cain throwing a perfect game against the Houston Astros. And there are a couple of game-saving plays in the outfield. That's Gregor Blanco, a one-time Royal. Melky Cabrera also made a nice play up against the wall in left field. There's always 1, 2, if not 3 good defensive plays and a no-hitter, or in this case a perfect game, and a couple of former Royals. And Matt Cain pitching the first perfect game in San Francisco Giants history.
And he did a lot of that himself. He had 14 strikeouts in that game, so he took care of a lot of business on his own.
Didn't the Giants just lock him up to a long-term contract?
They did. This past spring training, or just shortly after the season started, they gave him a multi-year extension.
Madison Bumgarner, a young left-hander, also got a long extension. Luke Hochevar's given up a home run, but that's about it. He's pitched well in 4 innings. No walks, 3 strikeouts. Royals have turned a couple of double plays on defense. A ground ball double play, a strikeout throwout double play. Ryan Braun homered with 2 outs in the 4th. Corey Hart grounded out to short in the 2nd inning. George Kataris, the catcher, will follow him, and then second baseman Ricky Weeks. 1 run, 2 hits for Milwaukee in 4 innings. Good breaking ball, and Hart strikes out. That's Hochevar's 4th, and the 75th strikeout for Corey Hart this year.
Well, let's take a look at those first 3 strikeouts here. We're going to see Ryan Braun here in the 1st inning climbs the ladder against him very effectively, and then George Kataris throws that curveball, gets him on the curveball for a strikeout, and then again climbs the ladder on Nyjer Morgan for his 3rd strikeout. We just saw Corey Hart, who's having a difficulty making contact this season. High strikeout count for him. Luke Hochevar takes advantage of that right there.
Now ahead of George Kataris. And now 1 ball, 1 strike, and he struck out. That was one of the strikeouts Monty just showed you in the 2nd inning. 2 balls and 1 strike. You can go on and on with Brewers players who are getting an opportunity because of an injury. Jonathan Lucroy, the Brewers regular catcher, and the Brewers signed him to a long-term contract extension early this year, had a very freakish injury recently when a suitcase fell on his hand and broke his hand, sending him to the disabled list. So the Pirates, or the Brewers rather, are without their regular shortstop, their regular first baseman, their regular catcher, and one of their starting pitchers. Another strikeout for Hochevar, this time with the fastball, and 2 down.
Here's number 5 for Luke. Again, he's doing a very nice job climbing the ladder, using that 4-seam fastball to get upstairs. Looks like a strike, but finishes out of the strike zone.
Fouled away by Ricky Weeks. Out on a fly ball to right field in the 3rd inning. Less than a month away from the Major League All-Star game here at Kauffman Stadium. Who do you think Ron Washington, the manager of the Texas Rangers, the American League champion Texas Rangers, will pick as a member of the Kansas City Royals for this year's All-Star game? We hope it's more than one. But in our Sprint You Call It question for tonight, we ask you who the top candidate will be. We'll get to that in the next inning. Hochevar strikes out 2 in a 3-up, 3-down 5th inning. Hanging out in the Sports Radio 810 WHB dugout suite tonight. 1-0 Brewers to the bottom of the 5th inning. Fans, we ask that you help provide for those in need during the annual Royals Wives Food Drive. That's on Monday, June 15th and Tuesday, June 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Outfield Experience. There will be a silent auction on Monday and mystery bags that feature Royals autographed baseballs on Tuesday. Fans are also encouraged to drop off kid-friendly, non-perishable food items during both days. Again, that's Monday, June 25th, Tuesday, June 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Outfield Experience. All proceeds will benefit the Bishop Sullivan Center, and you can learn more at Royals.com/food drive. Mitch Myers first at bat because Jeff Francoeur, who started in right field tonight, was ejected by home plate umpire Dan Isonia in the 5th inning.
And we saw Frenchie just use his bat to drop it down on the inside part of the plate there and showed up Isonia, and that's automatic ejection.
Second strikeout for Sean Markham, so he's got Frank Coeur, and now his replacement Mitch Meyer. One away in the bottom of the fifth. There you go. Remember we had the Bird's Nest when Paul Bird was here.
Frenchie Quarter,
and now we've got the Moose Lodge. Although I think the Moose Lodge would encompass just about all of Kauffman Stadium every time he comes to the plate or makes a play on defense. Moustakas fly to center field in the second inning. And Moustakas will reach. That ball not only got past Gutaris, but it took a left turn and rolled all the way over to the Brewers dugout. So 3 strikeouts for Markham, but a wild pitch allows Moustakas to reach with 1 out.
Royals catch a break here. Mike Moustakas, check swing, didn't stop quite in time. Very easy way to get down the first base with the ball going all the way over to the Brewers dugout area.
So the Royals will take it, just their 3rd base runner in 5 innings. And now Markham will face Alcides Escobar. Oh, 0-1.
Sean Markham does a very good job at holding runners on. He'll slide step, so he's very quick to the plate, difficult to run on.
To Weeks, out at second base, and no double play. Escobar beats it out.
Attempted double play here. Alcides Escobar hustling down the first base line, able to beat the throw. It's a long exchange from Weeks. Allowed Esky enough time to get down the first base line.
And it could be a running spot for the Royals. Escobar has 10 stolen bases, tied for the team lead with Gerard Dyson, who's at the plate. And if Escobar's thrown out, Dyson wouldn't be a bad guy to lead off the next inning. Ball 1 to Dyson, who was a tough luck out in the 3rd inning. Hit the ball hard up the first base line. Corey Hart made a diving play, and now Dyson is 0 for his last 13 and batting at .246. A month ago today, on May the 14th, Dyson was hitting .292. And when that game was finished, he got his batting average up to .304. And he pokes it into right field. That's a base hit. Escobar may have been thinking about going to third, but he stumbled as he approached second base, so he'll hold. And the Royals have 2 on with 2 out.
He stumbled, but also Niger Morgan gets a really good jump on this ball, charging hard. Here you see a little misstep there. Maybe even was going to miss the bag if he had tried to go through. So don't want to take a chance on making that out. You're already in scoring position. This will allow Humberto Quintero an opportunity to maybe drive in the Royals' first run of the night.
Quintero has another double in this series, and that was a double in the 3rd inning last night, so he has 12, which has already tied his career high. Markham got him on a fly ball to center field in the 3rd inning tonight. Down and away, ball 1. Quintero fired up, I'm sure, about the upcoming road trip. After the Royals go to St. Louis, they'll be headed to Houston, and that's where Quintero was for a long time before being traded to the Royals. 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes.
Not sure if Felipe Paulino will be traveling with the team as he's on the disabled list, but I believe him and Quintero still live fairly close to each other in the Houston area.
They've been together for a long time, going back to their childhood days in Venezuela and then together in the Astros organization. So a good fit for Paulino when Quintero was traded to the Royals. Unfortunately, right now on the disabled list with a groin strain. Escobar, the runner at second base. Dyson at first with 2 down. Back to Markham, who was a college shortstop, double clutch. And that almost cost him, but he gets Quintero by a step. The Royals strand 2 in the 5th. It's still 1-0 Milwaukee.
Now on the Budweiser patio, and nice little party going on up here. It is the NightlifeKC.com Lounge. 5 select dates during the year on Thursdays. They'll have a nice little event going on up here. $30 for VIP entrance, 2 beverages, a DJ after the game. They've got couches up here and good little atmosphere going on to watch the game. I should say there's a nice breeze up here too, so that makes it really good. And so got a little bit of a party going on. I actually think Ryan and Monty, you guys would be really comfortable out here doing the game.
No, I think that's more you, Joel.
Yeah, I think it just is absolutely me, isn't it?
If they had a hot tub, I'd come out.
There's a guy taking your picture.
Yeah, I know. It's awkward. Monty, no hot tub out here, but they do have that in Arizona. Alice Cooper was talking to me about that before. Home run ball landing in there. Anyway, good party out here, and they will have 4 more select Thursdays during the year. Just $30. They get in with the ticket, 2 beverage vouchers, and the DJ after the game, and the great view from right field.
All right, thank you, Joel. Now, we have broadcasted up in that area, but on the other end, and it is a very good view of the ballpark. Two balls and no strikes on Carlos Gomez. Luke Chavers giving up a solo home run to Ryan Braun, and only 2 hits in 5 innings. No walks. He has 5 strikeouts. And home runs really haven't been an issue for Luke this year. The Braun home run was just the 5th allowed by him. But still, he's done an outstanding job of keeping the ball down. Brewers have only made 2 outs in the air. Everything else has been on the ground or a strikeout.
And those fly ball outs were curve balls that they got out in front. They just really were off balance swings, so really not centering it up very well at all.
Gomez has one of the ground ball outs. That swing right there just reminds me of why Carlos Gomez hasn't blossomed yet as a major leaguer.
Trying to do too much. That fastball beat him badly. See, the ball's by him before he gets ahead of the bat through.
And now he walks, flipping his bat in his elbow pad, as if Luke was afraid to pitch to him. What was that about? The Royals, in conjunction with the MLB All-Star Game, are offering fans a limited edition All-Star brick. Fans can purchase a personalized brick that includes the commemorative All-Star Game logo. Your brick will be installed and on display outside the stadium. Go to royals.com/bricks for more information. Now, I don't mean to pick on the guy, or maybe I do, but the Minnesota Twins, I think, just got tired of this. They got tired of the swing that we saw before that when he was trying to hit one off the FCA building on the other side of I-70. Carlos Gomez has good speed. He's leading off the inning. He should be happy to take a walk. That's a good way to start an inning, but he's throwing his bat in his elbow like he's Albert Pujols, and Hochevar's pitching around him.
Right, showing a little disgust instead of being excited about having the opportunity to score the second run for the Milwaukee Brewers.
If Luke had a chance to pitch to 9 Carlos Gomez's all night, do you think he'd take it?
Absolutely.
Whatever. Am I getting old?
Well, we're all getting older. Maybe it's just a little different approach than what you would like to see.
And now he almost got picked off.
Very close to first base.
He's stolen 6 bases. He's been thrown out twice. One of the stolen bases in this series, that was game 1 in the 9th inning on Tuesday. Masonette hits it right on the nose, but Alex was lined up perfectly. Hardly had to move, and Gomez is back to first with 1 out. Here's a look at tonight's AT trivia question. Who was the last Royals shortstop to be named to an All-Star game?
That's a great question. I cannot think of anybody. Oh, I can.
Do I want to say Greg Gagne?
I'm going to say Kurt Stillwell.
Gomez, big jump. Royals pitch out, and he's safe. So there you go. You see the ability again. This time Escobar kept his glove on the bag in case Gomez slid through the bag. And so that's his 7th stolen base.
He had a great lead and got an excellent jump. Very close still at second base. Going to see the pitch out. Still gets a good jump. He's checking in, making sure.
Escobar went to the bag. He was expecting Hochevar to pick off to second base, so he was out of position, and Aoki takes a strike, and it's 1-1.
There's a pitch up above the Fox track strike zone.
Aoki singled in the first, hit by a pitch in the 4th, and now running up to bunt and takes another strike, and it's 1-2. So Hochevar giving up just 2 hits first 2 times to the order. Now we'll see what the Brewers do as they begin the third time through with Aoki, the leadoff man tonight. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts so far. I enjoyed that.
Get him dirty, right? But there was a daylight play on the pitch before. Alcides Escobar flashed his glove and tried to get Luke to come over to second base. Luke delivered the ball home. See Alcides Escobar flashing some signs to Humberto Quintero.
Aoki up the left field line, and that is a foul ball.
Let's go back and take a look at the pitch out when Gomez stole second base. Had it set up very nice. We see him out. Luke maybe picked his leg up a little bit too far, which allowed Gomez to get that extra step. On a pitch out, a lot of times you want to do almost like a slide step. Just because you're going to deliver a nice pitch out of the strike zone for your catcher, if you take too long getting it home, it's really playing into the base runner's hands.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here. I mean, if you went with a slide step, though, you want him to run, don't you, when you pitch out? Is there a chance that he doesn't go because he doesn't get a jump if you go to a slide step?
You really don't want to do a slide step. You want to be halfway between your full windup and your slide step. And he really picked his leg up high right there, as you can see. And that's what gave him that extra step, and that's all it took for Gomez to steal the base.
So somewhere in between the extremes and what Hochevar did right there.
Right, we call it a modified slide step at times. And there's the daylight.
To center field, Dyson coming up. Gomez is at third. Inning over. You can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Probably signed up for Slugger's Blue Crew presented by U.S. Toys, so sign your kids up. They'll be part of the fun all summer long. Members receive a batting practice jersey, a backpack, water bottle, ticket vouchers, front of the line access for every Sunday fun run, and much more. Membership is just $20. You can join right now at Royals.com/Blue Crew or by going to the U.S. Toy Store in Leawood, Kansas. Sean Markham has held the Royals to 2 hits in the first 5 innings. It was a noisy first 3 innings for Markham. He didn't give up any hits, but the Royals were knocking the ball all over the park, just right into the Brewers defense. 1 ball, 1 strike on Alex Gordon as he leads off our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Kevin Barnard from East Lynn, Missouri. And if the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Kevin wins $1,500. A grand slam is worth $25,000. 2-1 on Alex. Fly to right in the first inning and hit a soft ground ball toward third in the third and was out on a good play by Aramis Ramirez. And that was 1 pitch after Alex had shortened up to bunt and brought Ramirez into the edge of the grass. And now a line drive over Ramirez and into left field. So we were talking about the Brewers beginning their 3rd time through the order against Luke Hochevar. Now the Royals beginning their 3rd time against Markham. And Alex has a leadoff single.
Got that tailing fastball going away to the outside corner. Alex does a nice job serving it right down the left field line. Nice way to lead off this 6th inning.
Chris Getz has lined to first and he's singled to left center. So he's had 2 good swings to Markham. He's pulled one and gone the other way with the other. Brewers think that he might bunt. Ramirez comes way in on the grass at third and Markham throws ball 1. It's interesting. We were talking about Chris Getz and his new stance that he and Kevin Seitzer agreed upon, but Kevin Seitzer will tell you that that was a very special circumstance. Seitz does not like a hitter with an upright stance and his feet very close together. It is not a good athletic position. It's a position that requires a lot of balance because you're not really in a great balanced position to start. But Chris Getz late in the season last year was imitating Dustin Ackley, the young second baseman for the Mariners. Left-hand hitter, very similar stance, and something clicked. There's another good swing and a fly out to Aoki in left field. So Getz has been right on Sean Markham. Only 1 for 3 to show, and 1 on, 1 out. Okay, let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Who was the last Royals shortstop to be named to an All-Star game? And Monty said
Kurt Stillwell.
1988.
And that was the year that Kurt Stillwell and I arrived in Kansas City, and he was in the Danny Jackson trade. I was in the Van Snyder trade. So 88 being both of our first years here in Kansas City.
Kurt Stillwell also involved in another big trade for the Royals. No, he wasn't. I got Kurt Stillwell and Keith Lockhart mixed up.
That's right.
Keith Lockhart is the player that nobody ever talked about when Lockhart and Michael Tucker went to the Braves for Jermaine Dye.
Absolutely.
Billy Butler walked in the first inning, grounded into a double play in the 4th.
My recollection was maybe Jamie Walker involved in that trade as well.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Walker and Keith Lockhart were forgotten in that trade. It was always the Jermaine Dye, Michael Tucker deal. Off the end of the bat, so Gomez comes in, and there are 2 outs. So Alex with a leadoff single is still standing at first base.
Had a chance to talk with Kurt Stillwell. He was in town. He's now working for Scott Boras and Boras Corp, representing players. And Scott Boras, coincidentally, was Kurt Stillwell's agent. I believe Kurt Stillwell and Tim Belcher were the first players to ever be represented by Scott Boras. I think he helped him start his agency.
And now that's a major corporation.
Boras Corp.
Only 70 pitches for Sean Markham, so he's starting to settle in. Ball 1 to Eric Hosmer, who had one of the tough luck outs in the first 3 innings. Hit a bullet on the ground just to the right of second base in the first inning, and Ricky Weeks went diving to glove it and throw him out. That pitch stayed up, and there it goes. Deep right center field, and the Royals take the lead. In our Sonic Slam inning, Kevin Barnard from East Lynn, Missouri. Not sure if that's him or not. Just won $1,500 on that Eric Hosmer home run.
Way to go, Eric Hosmer. Got a little change up, stayed up a little bit, got the bat head out. Great swing. Way to stay back, Eric.
And now Meyer pulls it to the hole. Weeks runs it down in right field and throws out Meyer. So the Royals get a 2-out, 2-run home run. Eric Hosmer hits his 8th. And at the end of 6, the Royals lead Milwaukee 2-1. Panera Bread with 23 locations and now in Brookside. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. And by AT KCA Uverse, the new wireless receiver from AT KCA Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. Eric Hosmer hitting a 2-run, 2-out home run against Sean Markham in the bottom of the 6th inning, and now Hochevar makes a great pitch on Morgan. Close play at first, but Chris Getz throws him out, and Niger Morgan is 0 for 3. Monty, that's only 63 pitches for Hochevar in 6 1/3 innings.
And we were talking earlier about his pitch count being down in that game against Cincinnati, but gosh, tonight 63 pitches in 6+ innings. Very nice job.
Let's go to Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, Niger Morgan not happy, I'm sure, with that, but he did have a great moment earlier today. He, Ricky Weeks, and some of the crew from Fox Sports Wisconsin went over to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and I told them to give Bob Kendrick a call. He will give you a great tour, and there you see it right there. And I asked Niger what he thought about it, and he said words cannot explain what it felt like to be in there. He said that museum is a treasure to our country, and he hopes he can come back over and over again over the years, show his kids, and one day show his grandkids. Lou Brock was there for a speaking engagement, and Niger, who is never shy at all when it comes to speaking his opinion, said, I just locked up. I got so nervous in seeing Lou Brock. He said the biggest thing that stood out to him, and he said everything did, was seeing Buck O'Neil on the outside of the chicken wire looking in. And he said just so powerful. And I got to tell you guys, and Niger's known as being a very outspoken guy, rubs people the wrong way sometimes, but he had as good a response about that museum as anyone I've ever talked to.
All right, thank you, Joel, as Ryan Braun flies out to center field. So 2 down. I remember Torrey Hunter with the Twins and now with the Angels. Every time he comes to town, he'll take at least 2 or 3 teammates with them. And it's unfortunate how many major league players are still unaware that the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum is here in Kansas City, but most of them have the same reaction that Niger Morgan did. Aramis Ramirez, left center field and deep, and just like that, the Brewers with another home run. They tied the game at 2 in the 7th inning. So Luke Hochevar, for the most part tonight, has kept the ball down. Very few outs in the air. He has allowed 2 home runs, both of them solo. And for Aramis Ramirez, that's his 6th.
That really is only about the 3rd hard hit ball in the air we've seen. That ball's actually down. It's down in the middle part of the strike zone. Allows Ramirez to get his bat head out, get extended, get those big arms extended. He's got enough power, even though he was a little out in front, still enough power to get it out of the ballpark.
No balls, 2 strikes. It's probably not a whole lot of consolation to Luke at the moment, but that's the Brewers game. They hit home runs. They have the 3rd most in the National League. And the good news is, even though he's given up a home run to Milwaukee's number 3 and number 4 hitters, nobody was on base.
And they have hit 73 home runs now, and 43 of those are solo home runs.
Which would explain why they are 3rd in the league in home runs, but they are 7th in the league in runs scored. 1-2 on Corey Hart, who was 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
Never a consolation to a pitcher to give up a home run to tie a game, but looking back, it's always better than giving up a multi-run home run to lose a game.
And that's into center field for a 2-out base hit. So Corey Hart was down in the count, and he's at first with 2 outs. You can follow the Royals this summer with the MLB.com At-Bat 12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Mobile. You'll get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. And all you have to do is text At-Bat to 31826. 31826, or visit Royals.com for details. So 2 hits, 1 run in the inning, but only 4 hits for Milwaukee against Hochevar in 6 2/3. And now he's a little low on George Gutaris, who has struck out twice. Lucas struck out 5 tonight with only 1 walk. Hochevar trying to go 7 innings for the 2nd time this year. And as he's trying to go 7 innings for the 2nd time, if you go back to the first time that happened, that was the last time he won with 7 excellent innings at Chicago, allowing no runs, 3 hits. That was back on May 12th. Two and one.
This is certainly the best game we've seen from Luke Hochevar here at home this year. He's winless here in Kansas City, so looking to get on the board tonight.
His earned run average at Kauffman Stadium before tonight was over 10. Three and one.
We see the Fox tracks here. That pitch up out of the strike zone, but he's done a nice job in elevating the ball with intent tonight. Not because he's wild or ineffective. He's climbed the ladder effectively.
And a curveball. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's a good sign when you see a pitcher throwing a 3-1 breaking ball. It shows he has great confidence in throwing it. And a lot of times my thinking was, if I throw it 3-1, why not throw it 3-2?
And I would think the hitter's thinking the same thing right now. You know, what's he going to throw me now?
Absolutely.
Corey Hart runs, and a curveball breaks the bat. Right center field, it will drop. Hart will go to third. So Hochevar makes a good pitch, but Gutierrez got enough of the barrel on it And then with half a bat, singles to right center. 2 on with 2 out.
Yeah, the pitch finishes down very nicely. Shatters Gutierrez's bat, but finds that little Bermuda triangle out there, right between the 3 fielders.
Dave Island out to have a word with Lou Kochaver. There's nobody warming up at the moment in the Royals bullpen. A home run always looks worse sometimes than it actually is. It's 1 hit and it's 1 run and that's it. But you look at Luke's overall line, 2 runs and 5 hits with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And he's only thrown 78 pitches. So Royals aren't really concerned. Dave Island just out there to get him reset before he pitches to Ricky Weeks. Also give him a chance to catch his breath. It's not an extremely hot day in Kansas City. This would be considered a refreshing day once we get into July and August, but it's about as hot as it's been. 0-1 on Weeks, who was grounded out and flied out.
We saw that pitch at 94 miles an hour, so really no sign of any fatigue setting in on Luke Kochaver at this time.
On the ground to Escobar. He'll go the short way, and Luke Kochaver, 7 innings so far, and only 2 runs in a 2-2 tie. One on Tuesday, 4-3 last night in 11 innings, and now tied at 2 to the bottom of the 7th. Bring the entire family to the Major League Baseball All-Star Fan Fest from July 6th through July 10th at Bartle Hall. Major League Baseball All-Star Fan Fest is an interactive baseball theme park and the largest baseball fan event in the world. You'll get free autographs from Major League Baseball legends and members of the Hall of Fame. To guarantee your preferred date and time slot, you can buy tickets now at allstargame.com. All attractions are included with the price of admission. The Brewers scored in the 4th inning when Ryan Braun homered with 2 outs. The Royals got a 2-run home run from Eric Hosmer in the bottom of the 6th. That came with 2 outs. And Milwaukee just tied it with a 2-out home run from Aramis Ramirez in the 7th. So we're all even with Mike Moustakas, Alcides Escobar, and Gerard Dyson here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Sean Markham, very similar to Luke Kochaver. Not only has he been effective so far, he's been very efficient.
That was pitch number 74 from Markham, so you're right, very efficient from both sides.
Moustakas flied out in the 2nd. He struck out in the 5th, but then the ball got away from Kataris, the catcher, and he reached on a wild pitch. Royals have done a good job so far of putting the bat on the ball against Markham. One of his weapons is the strikeout, and he strikes out about 1 per inning. But tonight, 3 in 6 innings, and there's an excellent changeup on a 2-1 pitch. Markham has struck out Francoeur, Meyer, and Moustakas. And he gets Moustakas again. He goes back-to-back changeups, and 1 out in the 7th.
He has a good changeup, and he uses it very effectively. Throw the little curveball up there at times. I think he got Moustakas on that his first strikeout, but here it's the circle changeup. He can make that pitch really go away from left-handers or away from right-handers.
And now pitch number 79, and some late movement over the outside. Escobar is grounded into a force out, and he's flied out to right field. Did it hit him? It did. Kataris thinks it was a swing or maybe a foul ball. Markham is asking for an appeal. And Dan Isonia points down to first base umpire C.B. Bucknor, and he says, nope, no swing. It hit Escobar, so he's down to first with 1 out.
Alcides Escobar had ideas of swinging, but at this point it just is now let's get this thing out of the way, and I think it may have got away with 1 as well. That was some great acting.
This has not been a banner night for this umpiring crew, but they're human just like the rest of us. We've already had a couple of ejections. Jeff Francoeur called out on a pitch that was quite a bit inside in the 2nd inning and got into it with the home plate umpire. He was thrown out, and then as Niger Morgan was batting in the 4th, and on a bunt attempt, it appeared that the ball, even though Morgan's feet were in the batter's box, the ball was in front of the batter's box and hit Morgan, which would mean he would be out. But he was not called out, and Ed Yost came out to argue, and he was ejected from the game. 11 stolen bases for Alcides Escobar. Now the go-ahead run is at second base with 1 out.
Alcides Escobar gets a really nice read, a great jump here on Sean Markham, who's very quick to the plate, but had that base stolen very easily.
Dyson singled his last time up. He had been 0 for 13. Grounded out in his first at-bat, but he lost a hit on a nice diving stab by first baseman Corey Hart. Now Dyson with a chance to put the Royals in front. Markham misses outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. On the corner, good pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So far tonight, all 4 runs have been driven in via the home run. Be a nice opportunity here for Gerard Dyson to change things up. A little maybe single the other way. Anything to get Alcides Escobar across the plate here.
And the Royals have had some huge hits late in this series. That's been a great pitch for him. A changeup that struck out Moustakas to begin the inning, and now it gets Dyson for the 2nd out. 5 strikeouts for Markham. And now he gets Humberto Quintero, who's flied out to center field and grounded back to Markham. Monty told you that Markham has won his last 3 starts with an impressive ERA, and he's allowed just 2 runs, 4 hits, trying to match Luke Hochaver with 7 innings. Quintero goes to right, The ball is carrying. Back goes Morgan, and he caught it. More good defense behind Sean Markham tonight. A 2-2 tie at the end of 7.
Of the 8th, Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium as Panera takes us around the league, and the Battle of Ohio goes all Cincinnati with the sweep over Cleveland. That's good news for the Royals, though Tigers might be heating up, and the Cubs, not a bad team to do it against, worst in baseball right now. A couple of other American League Central teams in action. Jim Thome against one of his former teams, career home run number 607, and the Cardinals right now, as they await the Royals next, are beating the White Sox 5-3. But now it is the action, and Ryan to tell us a little more about Carlos Gomez.
Well, he's leading off again. And running up to bunt, the pitch was a little low. Gomez grounded out in the 3rd. And then walked in the 6th. That's the only walk given up by Hochevar. Gomez then stole second base, but then misjudged a fly ball to center from Aoki, and the Royals doubled him up. Your thoughts?
He was not swinging for a single there.
And again, running up to bunt. Quintero snapping his head back. I think he's wondering why that pitch wasn't called a strike.
Quintero wanted it. We're going to see here. Looked like it was not low.
And now 3 balls, 1 strike. You don't want to walk this guy. He's a .255 hitter with only 2 home runs, and his speed can be a weapon. Here we are in the 8th inning, and Luke throws a strike. Gomez appeared to be taking all the way. Stole a base in the 6th. He has 7 this year. At him with a fastball. Past Moustakas. Backed up by Escobar. Safe at first.
You mentioned, Ryan, Carlos Gomez with good speed. Alcides Escobar almost makes a brilliant play here. Very close at first base.
And one of the first things we learn, well, I was going to say the tie goes to the runner, but that may have gotten Gomez by a hair.
I think it may have.
Almost as if Hosmer was saying to him, do you think you were safe? Gomez kind of shook his head like, I don't know, man. The umpire said I was safe.
At the end of the day, it's really all that matters.
Now Masonette, the number 9 hitter. Just one sacrifice bunt this year. He gets it down. Hochevar will go to first. Getz is over there to receive the throw. So the sacrifice gets Gomez to second base. Scored 1-4. Here's our game summary for tonight. Not a lot of offense again. Just 2 runs for the Royals, 2 runs for the Brewers. Eric Hosmer's 2-run home run in the bottom of the 6th put the Royals in front 2-1 after Ryan Braun had homered in the 4th for Milwaukee. And then Aramis Ramirez homered in the 7th to tie it. Jeff Francoeur in the 2nd inning. Ned Yost in the 4th were ejected. Chevy called to the bullpen. Jose Majares is in. Luke Hochevar is out. A season-high 7 1/3 innings and gets a much-deserved ovation. The Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. Welcome to Lambert's Cafe in Sikeston, known for their throwed rolls, where the waiters will throw the dinner rolls across the dining room at the guests. The first roll was thrown in 1976 by Norman Lambert. At the original location, he would walk around and hand out the rolls. One day it was very busy when Norman couldn't get through the crowd, and one of the customers yelled to him to throw it at him. And with that, the only home of throwed rolls was born. Aoki running up to bunt. And that's a strike. Jose Majares coming on to face Aoki. So an interesting matchup here. Majares, a left-handed specialist. And in some ways, Nori Aoki is a left-handed specialist.
Right, his numbers actually are a little better batting from the left side against a left-handed pitcher.
1 ball, 1 strike. Majares came on to pitch last night and faced Aoki. And Aoki doubled. Two and 1. Luke Hochevar giving up an infield single to Carlos Gomez. Edwin Masonette bunted Gomez to second base. Hochevar comes out after a season-high 7 1/3 innings. And now it's in the hands of the bullpen. 2-2.
Really good sign to see Luke Hochevar have such a nice game. Followed up the game by Jonathan Sanchez last night. So 2 key guys in a Royals rotation coming out of spring training that high hopes and expectations from, and haven't seen it consistently from either one yet, but maybe tonight and last night will be the start.
And back to game 1 on Tuesday. Luis Mendoza taking a no-hitter into the 7th inning, only allowed 1 run, 1 hit. Gomez takes off for third, and it's fouled away. There's Mendoza. Standing in between Bruce Chen and Felipe Paulino. Good to see the starting pitchers, along with catcher Brian Pena, watching the game, talking the game. Back to Maharis. Thought about a play at second base. We'll go with the more conservative out. And 2 down. Speaking of Luke Hochevar, he's our AT&T Uverse Reverse Replays.
Yeah, I really like what you saw here in the first inning tonight. Fastball up, right by Ryan Braun. Here we're going to go Corey Hart in the 5th inning with another strikeout. Luke was on his game tonight.
Niger Morgan is the scheduled hitter. Morgan doesn't do much against left-hand pitching. So Ron Renicky will send Cody Ransom up to the plate. That's what Ransom has done this year with the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. We saw him early in the year here at Kauffman Stadium when Arizona was in town. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre, Jeff Montgomery, Joel Goldberg at Kauffman Stadium with director Steve Kurtenbach, producer Joe Lavero, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. And we say farewell to the rest of our Fox Sports Kansas City crew for a week as we head to St. Louis for a 3-game series over the weekend, and then after that 3 games in Houston. Yeah. 1-1 on Cody Ransom. Gomez opened the inning with an infield single. He was bunted to second base. And now 2 outs. Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Brian, even though Niger Morgan is out of the game, we're going to go back to the bottom of the 7th inning with Humberto Quintero batting. Runners on. Makes a nice catch to end that inning.
Over Moustakas and up the line, and the Brewers will regain the lead. Cody Ransom comes off the bench and drives in Gomez to make it 3-2.
Timely hitting late in these games has been a deciding factor. Here we see Cody Ransom with the RBI single right down the left field line.
And now a Chevy call to the bullpen as Kelvin Herrera comes on to face Ryan Braun. here in the 8th to put Milwaukee in front is charged to him, even though he was out of the game. We've had a couple of ejections tonight. If you're wondering why Chino Katahia has been going to the mound in this inning, it's because Ned Yost was thrown out in the 4th inning, arguing with home plate umpire Dan Isonia. In the 2nd inning, it was Jeff Francoeur and Isonia going at it, and he was thrown out.
Calvin Herrera, 2 innings last night against the Brewers, gave up 1 run, looking to get this last out here in the 8th inning, hopefully give the Royals an opportunity to get that run back.
And he comes on to face Braun. That makes sense because you got a righty-righty matchup. But Jose Mijares stayed in to face Cody Ransom, who has much better numbers against lefties than he does righties. And Ransom ends up with the single to put the Brewers back out in front. And now Braun fouls it off of his foot. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Those splits for Ransom, lefty and righty, I believe lefty's hitting at 273, so have a nice average against lefties. Only 135 against right-handed batters or pitchers.
So sometimes you go by the book and you go by the numbers, and sometimes you go by a hunch. Got him with a fastball up and away at 98 miles an hour. Royals down by 1 to the bottom of the 8th with the top of the order coming up.
To 2, Joel Goldberg getting ready for Boulevard Royals Live, and we will have plenty to talk about, including Luke Hochevar, longest outing by a Royals pitcher this year. What happened on the ejections with Jeff Francoeur and Ned Yost? We'll talk about that, plus get you ready for the pitching matchups in St. Louis as Vin Mazzaro, Bruce Chen, and Luis Mendoza is set to take the hill. But for now, we head back over to Ryan and Monty.
Thank you, Joel, and we head out to right field where Corey Hart has moved from first base. And Cody Ransom, who pinch hit for Niger Morgan, who started in right field, he goes to first, and his pinch hit, a single, driving in Carlos Gomez, puts the Brewers in front 3-2. Sean Markham has gone 7 innings 5 times this year, but he has not gone more than 7. Has a very good pitch count. He has thrown 87 pitches through 7. And he averages about 103 pitches per start.
The most pitches he's thrown in the game this year, Ryan, 119.
Left center, slicing, and Aoki over from left to make the play on Alex. He is 1 for 4. Markham has a season high 7 1/3 innings. And now he'll pitch to Chris Getz. Getz has been clobbering the ball all over the field. He is lined to first, single to left center, and line to left. So 1 for 3, but could easily be 3 for 3. Ramirez at third is in on the grass, trying to take the bunt away on the left side. Normally Getz, when he bunts for a base hit, he will drag it to the first base side. One and one. Very shallow left field, and a long run out for Masonette, but he catches up to it, and there are 2 down. As promised earlier tonight, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
One swing of the bat, 2 runs, Kansas City Royals. Eric Hosmer, 6th inning, 2-run blast off Sean Markham.
Hosmer on deck right now as Billy Butler steps in. Markham hasn't allowed a lot of home runs this year. He has given up 10, and that's over about 82 innings. However, he has allowed 7 home runs in his last 6 starts. Really tried to pull a pitch that was down and away, a little angry with himself. He walked in the first, grounded into a double play in the 4th, and flied out in the 6th. It was in the 8th inning on Tuesday in Game 1. Billy Butler came up with a big hit, driving in the go-ahead run against Francisco Rodriguez, putting the Royals in front 2-1. That was the final score. Billy driving in Alex Gordon. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Catcher Kataris wanted the pitch up, but that was not tempting to Billy. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Sean Markham, pitching very close to home, still lives in Excelsior Springs. His ERA against the Royals before tonight was 1.58. 3 balls, 2 strikes with Hosmer on deck. That's a 3-1 record. This is his 9th appearance and 6th start against the Royals. Mentioned earlier, he took a no-hitter into the 7th inning back in 2008, and it was Billy Butler who broke that up. Markham was trying to pitch through a bad cramp in his calf, and as soon as he gave up the hit, he was gone.
I'd be surprised if Billy doesn't get something very good to hit here. The 3-2 count. This would likely be Markham's last batter if he doesn't retire Billy Butler.
And the Brewers have Francisco Rodriguez warming up in the bullpen, but he's a right-hander. Billy goes the other way and fouls it away. So they do have a very capable reliever in the bullpen, but it's not like they've got a lefty set up for Hosmer if Butler gets on. Fouled away again. Good sign. The last 2 pitches have been up. Markham's next pitch will be number 99. He's already pitched a season-high 7 2/3 innings. And Hosmer will come to the plate again. What will the Brewers do? Here comes Ron Renicky, the manager. He has Francisco Rodriguez ready in the bullpen. It was Rodriguez who gave up the go-ahead run to the Royals in the 8th inning on Tuesday. He also pitched in the game last night, and he will come on with Butler at first base, 2 down. Eric Hosmer coming up. All-state twice at Excelsior Springs. Always has pitched well against the Royals, but he is out with a 3-2 Brewers lead in the bottom of the 8th. This July, don't miss the biggest event here at Kauffman Stadium, the battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins here at Kauffman Stadium. The 2012 Major League All-Star Game, July 10th, and you can see it at 6:30 on Fox. Here are the starters right now, the top vote getters in the American League. 2 members of the Texas Rangers in the outfield, 2 members on the infield, and the starting catcher right now is a member of the Texas Rangers. Only 2 Yankees.
Pretty good sign they're selling out in Arlington.
Francisco Rodriguez. He was a losing pitcher on Tuesday. And starts Hosmer off with a pitch that didn't reach home plate.
And Rodriguez has pitched both games in this series. This is his 3rd game here tonight. We're going to go back to Tuesday night for Billy Butler coming up. Nice opportunity. Go ahead run. Base hit to left center field.
The big hit the Royals were looking for, and then they got another one last night. The Alcides Escobar 2-run triple in the 9th inning. Hosmer, boy, that pitch was up. It was 84 miles an hour. And Eric Hosmer kind of standing in a pose with his follow-through, wishing he had done more with that pitch.
Well, Rodriguez has not looked overly effective in his outings here. He had a clean inning last night, but this is the same Francisco Rodriguez who saved 62 games in 2008, so not long ago that he was on top of the saves world.
Did he go? He did. Dale Scott is the 3rd base umpire. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tough call on Eric Hosmer, but looks like third base umpire Dale Scott may have gotten that one right.
And not just Rodriguez and Axford, but this is not a great Milwaukee bullpen. Their bullpen ERA is the second highest in the league. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Again, Rodriguez was the loser, giving up a run on Tuesday night. The Royals winning 4-3 in 11 innings last night. And the bullpen gave up 3 of the 4 runs. Escobar hitting the 2-run triple against Axford. And then a run charge to Cameron Lowe in the 11th. With 2 outs and nobody on, Butler walked. And now 1-2 on Hosmer. We'll do it again.
Francisco Rodriguez doesn't have that power fastball he used to have. Now he's more of an up 80s, lower 90s guy, but still throws a good curveball. Even mixes in changeups. Now I wouldn't be surprised to see him mix in a changeup ahead in the count here to Eric Hosmer.
Rodriguez strikes out Hosmer to end the inning. So we've played 8. Milwaukee has a 1-run lead. Is new in this series. Going into the 9th inning on Tuesday, the Royals led by 2-1. And going into the 9th inning last night, Milwaukee had a 3-1 lead. It'll be Tim Collins, who's had an outstanding year, a 2.1 ERA, a 1.00 whip, which is a combination of walks and hits per innings pitched. So allowing just 1 base runner on average. And in our Sprint You Call It question for tonight, we asked you, who will Ron Washington pick as an all-star for the Royals if he only has to pick one? 35% going with Billy Butler, then Mike Moustakas, followed by Tim Collins and Alcides Escobar, both at 17%.
Well, Tim Collins has really looked good this year, and I would not be surprised if Ron Washington names him to his all-star team. Billy Butler getting some votes as well, but if you're looking for a situational left-hander, this is a guy in the American League right now.
Royals had a 2-1 lead in the 7th inning when Aramis Ramirez homered to left center field, his 6th of the year. No balls, 2 strikes. And then the Brewers took the lead in the 8th when Cody Ransom, a pinch hitter, singled against Jose Majares, driving in Carlos Gomez. One ball, 2 strikes.
Tim Collins comes back with the identical pitch there, finishing the same location.
Curve is pulled off the netting in front of the Brewers dugout.
Ramirez, a dangerous hitter at the plate, doesn't want to give in to him.
Got him with a fastball at 94 miles an hour, so he set him up with the curve. And for Tim Collins, that is his 45th strikeout in 30 1/3 innings.
Throws that explosive fastball, rides it up in the strike zone. After seeing 3 breaking balls, that fastball had to look like 104.
Royals got 7 1/3 innings against or from Luke Hochevar. Escobar backhands and throws out Corey Hart. He's 1 for 4. That's not only a season high for Hochevar, it's a season high for any starting pitcher. Luke gave up 3 runs. The 3rd run occurred after he was out of the game. And then Majares and Herrera each got an out in the 8th. And with a left-hand hitting catcher due-up, George Kataris, Ron Renneke will send Martin Maldonado to the plate, a right-hand hitter. And a curveball dips low for ball 1. The Royals have Mitch Meyer scheduled to lead off in the 9th inning, followed by Mike Moustakas and Alcides Escobar. Two and 0.
The Royals changed things up last night. They were 0-31 if trailing going into the 9th inning. Last night they won their first game. In order to win tonight, they're going to have to duplicate that action. Royals have played 7 consecutive games now, decided by 2 runs or less. Looks like that's going to be the case again tonight.
A 4-pitch walk to Maldonado. And that's only the 2nd walk allowed by the Royals pitcher tonight. That's a team number they really want to improve, with the 2nd most in the American League. But Hochevar with just 1 in 7 1/3. And now Collins with a walk here with 2 outs in the 9th, bringing up Ricky Weeks, who was 0 for 3 against Hochevar. Drops his batting average down to 165. One and 1. This is an odd number. When a guy as talented as Ricky Weeks is hitting 165, you figure, well, he's probably just swinging at a lot of bad pitches. We've seen some of that in this series. But he's also 4th in the league in walks. Just 2 numbers that just don't seem to go with one another.
Ryan, that to me is a sign that maybe he's still not 100% from his injury going back to last year.
Ankle injury, which cut short, but still ended up being an excellent season for him. He was a National League All-Star. 2 and 2.
Tim Collins again riding it up in the strike zone. Both he and Luke Hochevar, very nice job on pitching effectively upstairs tonight.
Throws him away with a fastball. 2 strikeouts for Collins in a scoreless ninth. Royals down by 1. Meyer, Moustakas, and Escobar coming up. At best in his last 2 appearances, gets the 9th inning with the Brewers ahead of the Royals by 1 in the bottom of the 9th. Suffering a blown save last night, giving up a 2-out 2-run triple to Alcides Escobar. He will face Escobar in this inning. In the appearance before last night on Sunday, he came in a non-save situation with a 4-run lead. It took him 37 pitches to get an out. And Ron Renicky had to bring in Jose Veras to close out the inning. Martin Maldonado, who pinch hit for Kataris, will stay in behind the plate. It'll be Mitch Meyer, Mike Moustakas, and Alcides Escobar.
And Axford is a hard thrower, mixing a curveball, but he's a mid to upper 90s guy, but his fastball is normally very straight, and that's what's been the mystery for him. He's been unable to figure out when it's going to cut and when it's going to sink. And last night the ball was going to be away to Alcides Escobar, and it kind of runs back to the middle third of the plate, and he's able to hit a triple.
At the knees, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, it was interesting reading his comments. His problem is another pitcher's dream. Right. He was saying, my pitch was sinking and cutting all over the place.
Normally you like that for a pitcher. He likes his to be straight.
Another strikeout and a wild pitch puts a runner on base. And when I say wild pitch, I mean wild pitch. Mitch Meyer, maybe that was his strategy, who knows, but that pitch looked like it landed about 3 or 4 feet in front of home plate.
Yeah, that looked like a 56-foot curveball way out in front of the plate. Maldonado unable to keep it in front of him. Another Royals base runner, Mitch Meyer on base as a result of the strike him out wild pitch.
Second time that's happened tonight. Mike Moustakas, who digs in now, reached on a strikeout wild pitch in the 5th. And a curveball is inside for ball 1. Axford in that 9th inning last night got Butler to ground out. Hosmer walked. With 2 outs, Moustakas walked. And then Escobar hit the 2-run triple to tie the game at 3. 1-1.
We talked about last night's walk-off walk being the first walk-off win for the Royals this year. And last year at this time they had 9 already, so they have some catching up to do.
2-1. Axford has allowed 1 home run in 23 2/3 innings. He has walked 16, and that was his 5th wild pitch. Right into the glove of Maldonado. It's 2-2.
Here's that nice straight fastball that we're talking about. When you throw 95, 96 miles an hour, the hitter knows it. He has to look fastball, but we've seen some breaking balls, the curve balls from Axford, so you also have to keep that in mind. That's why that 95, 96 is so easy to let get by you.
Grounded to Hart. He bobbles, or Ransom rather. He goes to the bag. So 1 out. Ransom had thoughts of throwing down to second base to get the lead runner. So if the Royals were going to make an out on that play, that's exactly what they wanted.
Ball hit pretty well. Ransom not used to playing down at first base. Has to settle for 1 out. Effectively a sacrifice bunt.
So it's down to Axford and Escobar again. Off the end of the bat, 0-1. Here's what Alcides did against Axford with 2 outs in the 9th inning last night.
Axford trying to go away. The ball drifts back into the middle third of the plate. Alcides Escobar, nice job driving the ball in the gap. 2-run triple.
Axford backs off. Shortstop Masonette made a move for the bag. The scorecard says that Alcides was hit by a pitch in the 7th inning. The replay showed us something different. Blocked by Maldonado. That keeps Meyer at second. Otherwise, Escobar has reached on a fielder's choice and flied out to right field. Last year in this situation, when Escobar was hitting right around 200, Ned Yost stuck with him rather than go with a pinch hitter, hoping that Escobar would gain some experience, become more comfortable with hitting in situations like this. Didn't come through many times last year, but it sure paid off last night. He had a pretty good swing at the fastball at 97 miles an hour, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
His average this year is up by at least 90 points compared to where he was last year. So it's great to see him making the adjustments and then being able to stay in and deliver in some big situations like we saw last night.
Mitch Meyer at second base. He reached after striking out, and then an Axford wild pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and boy, Axford is really giving Maldonado a workout.
Axford looking very similar to like he did last night. Very tentative on the mound. Doesn't have the confidence to really challenge the hitters. He's using the breaking ball much more than he normally would. But when you don't command your fastball and you know that you don't have that command, that's the pitch you most likely you're going to get beat on.
Well, a year ago at this time, Escobar was hitting .227. No home runs, 14 RBIs. .290 as he stands in right now. And he got a piece of it, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. He has hit in 4 straight games. Hitless tonight, but 3 in the first 2 games. The former Milwaukee Brewer Brewers' everyday shortstop in 2010 when he hit just .235, including 159 in the month of September. Got him. So he stayed with that pitch. Axford strikes out his second. And in his mind, I'm sure, the game should be over. But because of that wild pitch, Dyson will get a shot.
Threw a really nice breaking ball there. Still didn't seem to have the confidence to throw the fastball and challenge Alcides Escobar, but knew that he probably could not get hurt if he stays away from him and gets a strikeout.
Dyson singled in the 5th inning, putting an end to an 0 for 13. At the knees for a strike. Little bit inside. Meyer reaching after the strikeout wild pitch isn't the only good fortune in the inning. Mike Moustakas then grounded to first. The ball was bobbled by Ransom, who was thinking about going down to second to get the lead runner. So that put Meyer at second base. The tying run in scoring position without a hit in the inning. Did Dyson swing? This time Dale Scott says no.
That was a big no call for Gerard Dyson. Need to be down to your last strike.
Dyson got a look at Axford last night after the Escobar triple. Axford struck him out, so it wasn't a good final result, but at least Dyson had an idea of what the ball looks like out of his hand stepping in there tonight. Ahead in the count, 2-1. 3 balls, 1 strike. When Dyson gets on, Brian Pena will bat for Humberto Quintero. Ball 4, 2 on, 2 out. And now you have world-class speed at first base, so Pena could find a line or a gap. The Royals could be experiencing a second straight walk-off or runoff.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Ryan. Let's make sure Brian Pena gets that memo.
So 2 base runners, one with a wild pitch following a strikeout and another with a walk. Pena had 1 at-bat last night. The Royals pinch ran for Humberto Quintero in the 8th. Pena took over on defense, and then in the 10th inning he grounded out to short. That's his only at-bat of the series. Breaking ball is high, ball 1. As a left-hand batter, the Brewers think that at least if Brian hits it to the outfield, that he will go the other way and not drive it. Aoki is shallow in left. Gomez over toward left center. And Brian going after some high heat at 95. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maybe Brian trying to muscle up a little bit there as he noticed that wide gap in right center field.
Yeah, tough pitch to lay off. Upper 90s fastball, like we've seen the Royals pitchers do effectively tonight. Axford climbing the ladder on Pena.
To left field, up the line, fair ball. The Royals come through again in the 9th inning. Pena to second, he's in a rundown. Dyson on his way to the plate. Game over. Royals do it again in the 9th.
Ryan, that is what speed do.
Call it what you want. Last night the Royals literally had a walk-off win. Tonight you could call